everyone, it's Christine and I am here with a familiar guest. This is Alli Cherry, and a couple months ago we actually collaborated on a video about how to zero waste grocery shop. So we're actually back in Alli's kitchen today to share different tips on how to reduce food waste. So I hope you guys find this helpful because a lot of the waste that we have in this country is actually coming from our food in our fridges.
Absolutely. So you want to hop right into the tips?
Yep, that sounds good.
So the first tip we have for you guys is to shop your own fridge before buying anything new. And this is pretty self-explanatory, but it's really important because you want to make sure that you're not wasting things that you already have. So you can shop your fridge, you can go through your cabinets and make sure you're using everything up before you buy new. And you can also keep in mind that best buy dates aren't really a hard and fast rule. You can smell the things that you have in your fridge, you can look at them, and usually you can consume them a couple of days after that date.
So the second tip that we have is after you're done shopping your fridge and all of your cabinets, go ahead and plan out your grocery list depending on what you're doing during the week. So this is really important for myself because sometimes I do eat out during the week, so I'm not gonna need to actually have to buy food for those particular days. So what I'll do is I'll just go through my planner, figure out what days I actually have to eat, and then buy for the days that I need to make lunch for or dinner for. The other thing is to also base your grocery list based on the things that you already have in your fridge. You might find that you have some tomatoes or cucumbers, so make sure you buy things to pair it with those already existing items in your fridge so you can use those up first as well.
Okay, so the third tip is once you're at home with your produce, you're gonna wanna separate your ethylene producing fruits from your non-ethylene producing fruits.
Basically what ethylene gas is that all or most fruits actually produce ethylene gas, and what happens is that when you put these next to a non-ethylene piece of produce such as broccoli, it's going to make this piece of broccoli spoil or ripen a lot faster. So you might notice that when you put all these things into your fridge all of a sudden, some things are ripening a lot faster than others. So if you separate them and are really good at it, that really does help to also extend the lifespan of your produce. So our fourth tip is to know what types of produce to eat first, and this is actually something that I learned when I was in packaging, when I was studying it in college, that the foods with the most water in them actually spoil the most quickly. So for example, these tend to be a lot of the fruits and sometimes water-filled veggies like romaine lettuce or spinach, peaches, berries. You'll notice that those things are actually going to want to spoil faster in your fridge. So our fifth tip is to remove moisture from your produce if you are going to store it for a long time. So this also relates to the previous point because I was mentioning how fruits or particular types of produce with a lot more moisture or water content in them tend to spoil more quickly. And just in general, when you do add water to the environment that these types of produce are being stored in, they're most likely going to be harvesting or growing bacteria, so you want to be aware of wicking away that moisture. So there's a couple ways I like to do this. Let's say I have broccoli. I know Alli has stored them in this cloth bag right here, which helps to wick away the moisture. I also have bags like these that have some sort of cotton mesh, which allows them to also wick away moisture too. And then you can also wrap your greens or your lettuce in a tea towel. But Alli actually has something really cool that she wants to share too.
Yeah, so I got these bags. Obviously you don't need these. A tea towel could probably work the same way, but these are called swag bags and you wet them, but they're pretty thick cotton gauze. So you put the produce inside of it and it really helps to wick away the moisture and keep especially lettuce and greens really crisp for longer periods of time. So I love these, they're great.
Yeah, they're really cool. And this completely cotton as well, right?
Yeah, organic cotton I think too.
Cool.
Okay, tip number 6 is there's actually several types of produce that do well in water. So for example, carrots do really well in water because they stay nice and crispy, and celery also does. I like to keep carrots fully submerged in water in a little container like this so that the tops don't get limp as they might if you had them in a jar like this. But I also love putting green onions in just a little bit of water, and then herbs as well do great in water.
And our last and final tip is to properly seal our food away into containers. I also learned this in packaging school that oxygen, when you have too much of it in an environment, that also allows bacteria to grow and to allow your food to spoil. So it's really important to have things stored and sealed away in jars like these. glass is actually a really good option to store your foods. It has a really good barrier, and it's one of the most recommended materials in the packaging industry, so I think that's really great. But besides jars, some other things I like to use is this massive tiffin. I use this for bread. I also use it if I want to meal prep and I just put all my chopped vegetables in here during the week, and they do really well because it has a really good seal. But if you have a smaller amount of food, then put it into here and make sure that it's pretty much full, so I just have a smaller option. And then, yeah, pretty much just choose your container sizes the best that you can depending on how much food you actually have. So if you have less, go for a smaller jar, or vice versa with a larger one. And then I also just do this on a whim a lot. I just take a plate if I have some leftovers in a bowl, and I just put the plate on top to make things really easy. But if you want to be fancy, you can also use what's called beeswrap. This is just a reusable organic cotton and beeswax combination, which you just go ahead and put it on top of the bowl, and then you just press it down to seal it, and then it's pretty much like a reusable saran wrap. So those are a couple things I like to do to help preserve my food for a little bit longer in some sealed containers. So those are the 7 tips that we have to help reduce food waste. We actually have 3 more cool recipes on how to actually cook foods to help preserve them so that they stay fresher and last longer in your fridge or your freezer. So go to Alli's channel and check that video out. And with that, I hope you guys found this video helpful, and stay tuned for more upcoming videos and collabs too. All right, bye.